Ladies and gentlemen, as a general rule, I tend to avoid animated films. However, there is a trend going on in Tinseltown with a lot more adult oriented animated films, so I've been looking at a few of them here or there to make selections as to when tonight's lesson plan. I decided to give it an eyeball, see how it looked, even though it was animated. And these Freylocks in Tinseltown are doing the exact same thing with animation that they're doing with celluloid that is ruining movies. Tell you why, a cinematic class is about to begin, and your professor is it. Greetings, salutations, another sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies, and I am about to commit heresy when I tell you that I thought the Lord of the Rings movies were a snooze fest. I did not like these movies at all. In fact, I got to tell you, out of the original trilogy, the first two movies, I had to use all of my resources not to fall asleep while watching these. The third one was saved because Benedict Cumberbatch came along as a dragon, and the dragon was kind of fun. But until that point, oh my God, these movies just dragged on and on. They were not paced well. Now, the people who have read Tolkien and they love his stories have probably just fallen out of their chairs. They're screaming and yelling at me and at the screen and looking to find Dwight Fry so that they can light up the torches, grab the pitchforks, and storm the studio. But I bring you truth in cinema, and those movies are boring as sin. Okay? Which is why it's kind of odd. I thought I would try the animated version. This is a movie called Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim. And one of the main reasons I decided to eyeball this thing is because it's about 90 minutes long. And that is the perfect length for a movie. And I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, in animated form, they curtail the Lord of the Rings into a enjoyable, succinct story. I should have known better. Since this movie is animated, let's talk about the art, if you will. This movie is done in what I like to call soft anime. Now, if you actually are an anime fan, the anime is, uh, as far as art is concerned, it's rather simplistic. There are very sweeping, round lines that define characters, and most of the anime figures, they have those big giant eyes and big round faces, and some of the faces are pointy, but this is what I like to call a soft anime in that it has the anime design, and certainly the characters, some of them anyway, have this look, but they've eased it out into a little bit more contemporary art so that what you have is a little blend or a little mixture. It's not hardcore anime, and it's certainly not traditional animation, but there's a nice little blend in between. And these are, I think they work well. If you want to see an example of this type of art, you can always check out the Gundam series on Netflix. Their latest is called Requiem for Vengeance, and they also use this soft anime style, although the anime is a little more pronounced than that. But you'll get the idea of how this thing looks and where it's going. Basically, folks, what we have in this story, the War of Rohirrim, is a basic tale of siege. Now, those of you who know, back to feudal times, times of swords and castles and things of that nature, know that a siege was something that was, well, it had to be very well orchestrated. It had to be very well planned. If you've read any of the Bernard Cornwell novels dealing with Uhtred, son of Uhtred, and the land of Bebenberg, then you're quite familiar with how you lay siege to a castle. And that is the basic tale behind this story. The main protagonist, if you will, is Helm Hammerhand, and he is voiced by Brian Cox. He is a figure in the canon of the Lord of the Rings that is mythical, in fact, almost godlike. Just an amazing leader, an amazing warrior, and what have you. Now, putting the story around him and the folks trying to lay siege to his castle is good enough. But no, they don't keep it there. And that's where the movie turns south quickly.
All Middle-earth knows the tale of the War of the Ring. But 200 years before that,
Riders of the Mark! Brothers of Rohan!
there was an older tale.
Arise!
We come with an offer to strengthen Rohan.
Hera, daughter of Helm, I, Wolf, seek your hand in marriage.
Our fathers speak as if I were not even in the room.
I do not want to marry you.
You do not seek an alliance. You seek a throne. You will live to regret this, old man. He's dead. You will pay for this with your life.
The boy I knew would never wish for war.
The boy you knew is gone.
Fire!
There's so many of them. I pledged to fight for my king.
You know nothing of war.
I'm the fastest rider you have.
People need hope, Hera. Something to believe in.
My pride. My joy. You could rule the world.
You think I am afraid of you?
You should be.
What does Mordor want with rings?
So, as I said, they have a solid basic story about Helm Hammerhand and the nefarious no goods who are attempting to lay siege to his castle. Not content with it, I probably should point out too that The events in this movie take place some 150 years before the movies kick in. Okay, so we've gone further back in time. Okay. They're not content with a good siege animated story. Director of this movie is Kenji Kamiyama, and he's done a nice job in putting it together. Where everything begins to fall apart is when we bring the writers of the script in. Let me mention these two Freylocks for you. Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews penned this story, and I'll tell you what, here are a couple of real soy boys for you. You know, these are the kind of guys you don't want your daughter bringing home because, you know, if there's anything hoopla that comes out, these guys are going to be hiding under her skirts. They take this story and they turn it into a female propaganda, I am woman, hear me roar, Helen Reddy song. And it destroys the entire animated feature. You see, instead of keeping the emphasis on Helm, no, they turn to his daughter, Hera, who is played by Gaia Wise. And Hera, although named after the quite wicked queen of the Greek gods, this Hera is the epitome of the modern Kamala Harris's great feminist all the way back in that era of time. And it doesn't fit. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, the world of castles and feudalism is filled with women who are promised to a prince or a king in order to make, you know, the two areas or countries stronger and bound together. And there's always stories about somewhere along the line, the princess has tripped over a stable boy and fallen in love with them, and there is a conflict. Even the Three Stooges have done what, you know, oh, Elaine, come out. Yes, yes. That's not the case here. Hera has not found a true love somewhere in the village, a commoner, a peasant. No, she needs no man. She is a woman, and she can ride, and she can fight stronger than anyone. Oh, please. Who writes this garbage? I'll tell you who writes this garbage. It's Jeffrey and Will, and both of them should be bitch slapped for putting this nonsense into this movie and ruining what could have been a decent animated film. Starring along also. Wolf is voiced by Luke Pasqualino, and Olwen is voiced by Lorraine Ashburn. Olwen is an old woman who they give the impression that she was much like Hera back in her day, and she is wise. She is, in essence, Hera's Yoda. Okay? So once this happens, this whole story just, I mean, my God, it turns into this nothing but woman propaganda. We don't need men. We can run the world better than men. They didn't dare do this in the movies of Lord of the Rings because they knew these Tolkienites, that's what they're called, would probably rebel and jump up and rip the screen. So they do it in animated form. Makes this movie suck eggs. That's really how it goes. Don't take my word for it. Let's peel back the veils of time and go back to the early Cretaceous period. Check in with the nation's first and only prehistoric film critic, Rex Real.
An animated feminist propaganda piece is still a propaganda piece. Nonsense.
So there you have it, a Lord of the Rings movie that finally fit into an acceptable time limit and at its core had a really decent story, destroyed and utterly mutilated by a script that has to put forth, in strong fashion, feminist propaganda. What a waste. I'll tell you one thing that's not a waste. That is the official Rex Reels store. You can stop by there now and you can finish up your holiday gift giving. I know that's what I did. Everything in the store is on sale. It just depends on whether you're going to get 25% off or 60% off. Yeah, it's that good. The official Rex Reels store for all of your Christmas gift giving. Don't forget to follow Rex and I along the socials. Don't forget to hit that like button, click and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on all of this goodness. Now, that you have learned what you have learned, here endeth your lesson.